besties, I hope you are having a great day, not just a good day. I'm so excited to be back today with another DCC video. But first, look at my jumper. Isn't it cool? It says Dallas Cowboys. It's actually from Cotton On. I think you guys have Cotton On there. I have visited Cotton On in America back in like 2012, but Cotton On is like a very big store in Australia. It's kind of just like a everything store. Not like a Target, but like nice clothes. I don't know how to describe it, but I get a lot of like my basic stuff there, like basic tees and things, but they had some NFL stuff and this is a cool jumper. I love doing DCC videos. You guys know I love DCC videos. I love the reception I get from you guys and the feedback I get. So please, if there is any topics within DCC you want me to cover, please drop it in the request form that's in the description below. You can remain completely anonymous. You can request anything if it's DCC or not. I love to hear your guys' opinions and what you want to see on my channel. Now today's topic has popped up a few times in my request form. We are going to be talking about legacies and nepotism within DCC. If you are new to the world of DCC and have no idea what I'm talking about, legacy cheerleaders are a mother and daughter duo where the mother and the daughter have both danced for the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. In today's day and age, this is a very rare occurrence due to the fact that it takes an extremely talented dancer to dance for the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. I feel like the expectations and the level of what it takes to be a DCC, it just gets higher and higher each year, especially now that there is a Netflix documentary about it, so it's just given more eyes to the world. We're going to be talking a little bit about nepotism as well today, and according to the Oxford Dictionary, nepotism is a practice among those with power or influence of favoriting relatives, friends or associates, especially by giving them jobs. Now, we've seen many cases of nepotism before in the world, and they pop up in our everyday lives without us even knowing half the time. If you have experienced nepotism in your regular life, from your workplace or anything else, please let me know in the comments because I'm so fascinated by nepotism. I think it's just a crazy thing that is swept under the rug a lot. Now, out of nearly 900 women who have ever worn the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders uniform, there have been 4 legacy cheerleaders, which again means their mum was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader as well. Now, 3 out of 4 of them were filmed for Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team on CMT or America's Sweethearts. There was just 1 that wasn't filmed, and that was prior to both TV shows. Starting off with our first mother-daughter duo, we have Billie Mitchell and Amber Montgomery. Billie was a young mother when her and her husband moved from Oklahoma City to Dallas, Texas, and her neighbor was a former New Orleans Saints cheerleader, and she was the one who encouraged Billie to go out and audition for DCC. After 3 rounds of auditions, Billie received a letter in the mail that she had made the team. Billie was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys for 1 season, and she has talked extensively about how it changed her life. The world of DCC opened up the doors for her to try modeling, and she also found a new confidence in herself that she didn't know she had before. Fast forward to 1995, her daughter Amber was a varsity cheerleader in high school, and she was apparently always in awe of her mother's stories that she told about her years as a DCC. After her junior year in college, her high school friend ended up making training camp for the DCC, and that was really the push Amber needed to be able to try out for the team. The next part that I read I found really interesting. Amber talks about how her mum Billie ended up hiring her a personal trainer so that they were able to redefine her body shape and change her eating habits in preparation for DCC. This is the first time we're hearing of a bit of a red flag between a mother-daughter duo legacy. It happens a little bit more in the future, and it also gives very much like a dance mums vibe. This day and age, I believe we're able to see the signs of things like an eating disorder much more clearly. But back then, it was very normalized to do things to be able to get what you need, even if it was in an unhealthy way. In this day and age, there has been a lot more research and funding to be able to get to a healthy place and not destroy our physical and mental well-being. Now, Amber had a very unique situation. She ended up making the team and cheering for 2 seasons. She took 6 seasons off after that and came back and cheered for another 2 seasons. That is extremely rare. I don't really remember the last time we've seen someone literally dance for 2 seasons, take 6 seasons off and come back for 2. Again, it would be a completely new group of girls. It'd be a completely different environment. And again, I don't think it's something we would even see in the future. So again, extremely rare circumstances. Now, the next DCC mother duo legacy we're going to talk about is Kim Odin and Meredith Odin. Kim cheered from 1982 to 1984 and Meredith cheered from 2007 to 2011. However, Meredith did audition in 2005 and did not make the team. This was the year prior to Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders making the team on CMT aired, but there was a 2-hour kind of pilot tester special that was released on CMT. It's currently unlisted on YouTube. I need to go and, I have seen it before. I'm going to go and try and find the link for you guys again because it did show Meredith trying out then. But let's go back to 2007, which was season 2 of making the team. We see Meredith in the very early stages of the audition process with her mum, and her mum is helping her sew her costume. Her mum said, and I quote, "I think the shorts need to be shorter and tied up, but let's not tell your dad." Now, there was also a scene where Kim was helping Meredith get ready in the mirror in their bathroom. And there was a very telling note that was on the mirror, and it kind of just shows what dancers were going through and what age we were living in back then. Now, let's not forget 2007, the kind of it girls were Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Kate Moss, and it was the prime time of the Victoria's Secret runway fashion shows, as well as shows like America's Next Top Model. And back then you were referred to as curvy if you were probably over like a size 6, I would say. Now, Meredith had a handwritten note on the mirror, and I don't know if this was written by her or by her mum, or if this was just her bathroom, or if she shared the bathroom with her mum and her family. But the note said, "There is no cheating when it comes to be eating. You want to be skinny," with want and skinny underlined multiple times. It is so wild to see that today. Like, I couldn't even imagine if I had a child and that was up on their mirror, I would be seeking help for them immediately, because there are so many ways you can be skinny if you follow the proper procedure of eating healthy and working out. You don't need to put your body into distress to do that. But it's just so crazy to think about how normalized this was back then. Like, this was 2007 and I was 13 years old. Now, Meredith had a decorative career during her DCC tenure. She attended 3 USO tours and was named Veteran of the Year, as well as becoming a group leader during her 4th season. Meredith said that one of her most memorable moments as a DCC was going skydiving with the Golden Knights during training camp one year. Next up, we have Judy and Cassie Trammell. Now, as we know, Judy was one of the most famous cheerleaders from the 1990s. She danced from 1990 to 1993. Now, Judy's story is she wanted to go to college, but her parents didn't want to waste the money on that, so she ended up getting married. After she got married, she really didn't know what she wanted to do with herself, so she ended up auditioning for the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. She stated that over 1,000 girls tried out, and I just want to show you guys this absolutely beautiful picture of her running up when she was either announced, I don't know if they had training camp back then, or if she was announced for the team, but absolutely love this photo. And it's so crazy to think that someone was able to capture out of over 1,000 girls this photo of Judy, who is now in 2025 the head choreographer for the same team. Now, Cassie, her daughter, was more of a traditional cheerleader when she auditioned for the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleader. And when I say traditional cheerleader, tumbles, turns, all the competitions, things like that. Judy ended up stepping out of Cassie's panel interview as she thought it would give her an unfair advantage due to their personal relationship, so she didn't want to judge her, which I think is totally reasonable. Cassie ended up making it to training camp and made the team. Going into her 4th year, Cassie was named a group leader. Many people have said in the past they don't believe she made it on her own, and she ended up going into her 5th year trying out with a few injuries. Now, there was a lot of criticism from the judges that they would cut her like any other person because of her injuries, but again, a lot of people didn't think she should have either gotten group leader or made it through her 5th year. There has been word in the past that Cassie was very toxic during her tenure as a DCC, and that comes down to nepotism and being able to get away with a lot. There is word on the street, I'm gonna say this again, allegedly Cassie slept with a military personnel during a USO tour. Again, allegedly, and I don't need to spell it out for you, that's a big no-no, you should not be doing that. I plan on going into a bigger deep dive on Cassie and her tenure as a DCC, as well as the nepotism and the toxicity that came along with it on my channel. So if you really want to see that, please let me know down in the comments. Now, time for Shannon and Madeline. Now, Shannon was a DCC from 1987 to 1990. She was only on the season for a few years, but she speaks very highly of her time as a DCC and still maintains friendships with a lot of her sisters that were on the team at that time as well. Now, her daughter Madeline tried out for DCC in 2019 and she was cut during training camp. A lot of the leaders said they just didn't think she was ready. She was still studying in college then, she was studying dance, and a few of the girls said if she had just finished her college degree, she would have a lot more experience and be a lot more prepared for DCC work. Madeline auditioned again in 2020, which was the COVID bubble year, and she didn't end up making it to training camp / the bubble. She was noted saying that she didn't consider herself a legacy because she hadn't made the team yet, which I totally understand. Madeline came back stronger, and in 2021, she made the team, which is amazing. She is now officially a legacy DCC cheerleader. Madeline absolutely loves doing community work through the Cowboys organization. As we know, her mother and father met through the Cowboys organization when her mother was a DCC and her dad was a videographer for the Dallas Cowboys. Madeline and her mother Sharon have spoken extensively and publicly about her father's mental health struggles, how he was getting older and his body just wasn't fit for the job anymore, and he saw the younger guys coming through doing the jobs a lot easier than he was able to do. He took out his frustrations mentally and emotionally on his family, and he ended up losing his battle with mental health. This was only a couple of years ago, and Madeline was still on the team. She ended up soldiering on and was able to continue her DCC duties. Callie really didn't recommend that at all and said that she should have time off if she needs to be able to process everything that's happened. I am someone who personally throws myself into work or into projects or anything to distract myself if I have been through a very upsetting or traumatic event. I'm not someone who can kind of sit at home and just be alone with my thoughts to process it. I think for me personally, I love to stay busy when something horrible's happened. So I fully understand where Maddie has come from when she dove straight back into it and was back at training, back on game day. I totally empathize with her on that. Maddie is currently still on the team. She's in her 5th year and she is thriving. She has announced that she will be retiring at the end of the year. Now, on a lighter note, because Lord knows we need it, Madeline's first cameo that she did as a DCC, she ended up wearing the exact same earrings that her mother wore when she was a DCC for her cameo. So that is a really gorgeous nod to their legacy together and something that they will be able to cherish forever. Now, Victoria and Tina Kalina. I am so sick of talking about it. I've done so much. Like, I have talked about season 1 of America's Sweetheart, season 2. I've done a full deep dive on them as well, but I will be giving you a little bit of a backstory on them for the purpose of this legacy DCC video. I'm also going to link my deep dive on them in the description below, so if you guys want to go watch that, it's a full deep dive on them and it gives you a little bit more backstory. But Tina Kalina, her first year as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader was 1984. She was rookie sisters with Callie. The next year she was unfortunately cut because of her weight. Tina ended up coming back and cheering for the 1988 and 1989 seasons. She was a group leader. She was on many USO tours. She was a very bright, bubbly, and happy cheerleader, as we've been told many times. She was a great cheerleader and she represented the organization amazingly back then. Victoria simply knew from the moment that she could walk, the moment that she could dance, that she wanted to become a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader and follow in her mother's footsteps. What we know, she really didn't have any other life goals or ambitions other than to dance for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, because dance was her entire life. Now, Victoria auditioned as soon as she possibly could at the ripe age of 18. She ended up being cut at the very end of training camp, and this was multiple factors that played into this. This was weight issues, professionalism, and her dancing critique was that she kind of danced a bit too big, too messy, and she was unable to control that. After she was cut, it was very emotional for Callie. Callie was very upset. Victoria was obviously crying. Victoria said that she wanted to hug her mum, but she also didn't want to tell her mum because she didn't want her to be disappointed. She returned the next year. She was in better shape physically. She really kind of kept to herself. She was very professional and she kind of stayed a bit away from the CMT crew, which I feel like did her a lot of favors. She didn't have a crazy amount amount of critiques like she did the following year, and she ended up making the team this year. Victoria cheered for 2 seasons before she decided to take a season off to focus on health issues. She was extremely skinny during this time, and she brings up a lot of the health issues that she had in season 1 of America's Sweethearts. During her gap year, she absolutely thrived. She did so well in life. She looked so happy and bubbly from what I could see online. I remember following her on Instagram back then. Unfortunately, she wiped a lot of that off Instagram, but it was just a really good environment for her to be away from. After a year off, she rejoined the team and she continued to shine. She was always open to opportunities to grow and be the best person she can be. Unfortunately, her toxic relationship with her mother kind of scared a lot of people off though, with unable to make proper friendships within DCC. Something I found really interesting though in season 1 of America's Sweethearts was Kelsey said that Victoria doesn't have the best friendships because she left for 1 year and she didn't really maintain those friendships a crazy amount. And when she joined back her following year, it was really hard for her to fit back in with those friendships, which I don't think that that's the case personally. I think that's a really big excuse for people to not be friends with Victoria. As we've seen, a great example is Kayla. She was cut as a veteran during season 1 of America's Sweetheart. She came back and made the team again during America's Sweetheart season 2, and she fit back in seamlessly. Now, I'm usually a really big fan of Kelsey and her points, and again, back her with a lot of what she says, but this was a really bad take from her. Victoria retired after 4 seasons as a DCC and not receiving any leadership positions. She said she didn't feel the need to come back for a 5th season to prove herself to Kelly and Judy. Now, we know there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Tina and Victoria. That includes a cease and desist that was sent to Victoria from the Dallas Cowboys organization for Victoria using and profiting off Dallas Cowboys choreography. Now, yes, we do have 4 legacy cheerleaders, but there are a few girls who actually are daughters of DCC who have tried out in hopes to become a legacy cheerleader and making the team. In 2019, we had Nadia Marcella audition for DCC. Her mum was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders in 1985. She said there was a lot of pressure on her to make the team, and ultimately she was cut at finals. She says the hardest part of this for her is going to tell her mum, I wasn't as good as you, and ultimately she said she'll try it again next year. This was unfortunately the last time we ever heard from her. Next up we have Dayton, and again we've talked about Dayton extensively, as well as her mum Shelley. Dayton tried out when she was 19 years old. She originally wasn't going to try out and she said no multiple times, but when it came around to it, she thought she's just going to go for it and try out, which props to her. Dayton has said that DCC is like a second family to her. Her mum has worked in the organization since she was a little girl after being a Pro Bowl cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys herself, which massive props to her, is a huge achievement. Dayton is also very close with Kelly's daughter Sam, as well as Victoria Kalina. And because we're on the topic of legacies, we need to mention that Shelley danced for 5 seasons and again was a Pro Bowl cheerleader. Dayton didn't make it her first year. She was cut at finals, and then she was able to make it into training camp the following year. Ultimately, Dayton's downfall was her memory mistake. She was unable to retain choreography as quickly as the other girls. She ended up being cut towards the end of training camp, and she went on to bigger and better things. She was a cruise ship dancer. She traveled the world. She looked absolutely amazing and she was thriving. 6 years later, Dayton ended up coming back and trying out for DCC again. This ended up being season 2 of America's Sweethearts. Unfortunately, it was the same downfall for Dayton. It was her memory mistakes that she was struggling with, and she ended up being cut towards the end of training camp. Again, I absolutely hate this narrative around Dayton that people are like, oh, she didn't want it, she's just doing it because of her mum. Dayton wanted to do it. If she didn't want to do it, she wouldn't be there. Again, she has grown and matured so much over 6 years being away from DCC, and you can tell it is a very close relationship because of the way Kelly and Judy act while she's getting cut and after she's getting cut. They are clearly very hurt by this. I mentioned this again in my deep dive on Dayton and Shelley, but it tugged at my heartstrings a lot where Judy was like, tell your mum to call me if she needs anything, and you as well, call me if you need anything. And they both say, I love you. Kelly ended up calling Shelley the next day to check in on how her and Dayton are doing. But I just, again, want to reiterate the lack of nepotism here, and it shows very much. Like, Kelly has mentioned multiple times in this process, you're not going to make this team just because you're somebody's daughter. You do deserve to make it, but you need to put in the work and be able to keep up with the other dancers. It's so interesting when you compare that to Cassie and Judy and how Cassie was injured going into her 5th year. I'm personally not ready for season 3 of America's Sweethearts. It's not even finished editing or anything, but the fact that Dayton does not make it into training camp for this next season is so heartbreaking, and I really feel for her. I hope she's in a better place right now, because DCC is not the be all end all. There is so many other places she could be as a dancer. She and Shelley mentioned before that Dayton would not be trying out for any other NFL cheer team, but I personally think that Dayton would make an amazing Las Vegas Raiderette. She would be beautiful there. Dayton has spoken out multiple times that was her last time auditioning. She will not be auditioning for DCC again. She did absolutely everything that they asked her to do, and she wasn't good enough for them, which again breaks my heart. I followed Dayton on Instagram, and she recently went to London, and I was like, yes, get out of the country, go traveling. I absolutely vibe this, like, go queen, you can do so much better than DCC. Like I said, I do have deep dives on Tina Kalina and Victoria Kalina and Dayton and Shelley, and I'm gonna link them below in my description. Please check them out. There is so much information in those, you really need to see them. If you've gotten this far in the video, I would love to hear your thoughts again on nepotism and legacies in DCC. Again, I don't know who the next legacy is going to be. We have seen Cassie's daughter, Lennon. I guess she's very involved in dance and cheer. So fingers crossed that there could be a 3 like legacies, like grandmother, mother, daughter. That would be absolutely amazing. Sasha Agent, her daughter is very, I guess, well equipped in the dance world. I would absolutely love to see her. Sasha was an amazing DCC back in the day. But again, there are some that just come out and surprise you. You're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that you were on the radar. That was kind of like Madeline S for me. I was so surprised to see her come out and actually audition for DCC and come back in the following years as well after she didn't make it. But I also have a ton other DCC videos, including what has been going on this season in DCC world, and there is a lot. So please check that out. But if you don't want spoilers for season 3 of America's Sweethearts, don't check that out. Just save it for June when it does come out. If you want to keep up with me in real time, don't forget you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Charlotte's got extra T at the end and an underscore. Again, I love hanging out with you guys. It's been so much fun. I am going to America very soon, so if you guys want me to do anything, see anything, I've done like most of the touristy stuff, but again, I'm gonna be taking my camera and taking lots of videos and vlogs for you guys. But if there's anything you particularly want me to see or do or try, like food I've tasted like Raising Cane's and stuff, I love that. But if there's anything at all, please let me know. But thank you guys so much again for watching this video. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.